Hi everyone. We have Aditya here with us today, and he is my batchmate. So, Aditya, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, as Niti mentioned, I'm her batchmate. So we both graduated from BMS College of Engineering, which is in Bangalore in 2018. That I got campus placed into a company called DirectEye. To be more specific, it was Endurance International Group, again a part of DirectEye. So I worked there for about 1.5 years, and then I shifted to LinkedIn. And right now I'm working at LinkedIn as an SRE. It basically stands for Site Reliability Engineer, if most of you do not know about the role.
So, when did Endurance come to campus?
This was during my fourth year, I think 2017 July. It was the 27th of July, if I remember correctly. So the first company that came to our college was Nutanix. The second one was Endurance, and right after Endurance was DirectEye. Again, in my previous answer, I told you that DirectEye and Endurance are kind of one and the same. But what actually happened was DirectEye is a conglomerate of about 8 companies or so. And one of the companies was DirectEye Web Solutions, and that is what they sold to Endurance. So the company that I worked for was called Endurance, but it was a part of DirectEye before.
So, which were the departments that were allowed to sit for interviews?
It was 3 departments, if I remember correctly. The first one was definitely computer science. The second was information science in our college. Some colleges call it information technology. And the third branch, which was allowed, was electronics and telecommunication, EC.
So, what were the rounds and what was the interview process like?
Okay. So this is one of the longest interviews that I've ever faced till now. The reason I'm telling that is because we started interviewing at around 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning, and the interviews went on till 1:30 a.m. the next day. So that's a lot of burden as a student, if you think of it as a student. So just talking about the interview process, there were about, I think, 700 people, candidates who sat for the first round. The first round was just MCQ questions, all your computer science fundamentals, and primarily your database, networking, operating systems, C programming, all of these basic questions in the form of MCQs. And this was again a timed interview. Um, that was the first round. The second round was more to do with live coding. They had about 3 questions which you had to solve on a computer in front of the people who came to interview. So this was the second round. I'm going to diverge a little from here because Endurance had come for 3 roles. The first one was operations engineer, the one that I got into. The second one was software development engineer, and the third one was a data science profile. Okay.
Got it. So, my
Uh,
question here for the live coding round, was it like there was a mentor who was assisting you, or was it like you had to just pass all the test cases? Did they look at your approach? What was this round like?
yes, they looked at a couple of things. It wasn't more like mentoring, but it was like a proper interview itself. We were given questions and test cases, so we just had to code it out. But they did give a lot of importance to the approach and the quality of code that you had written, and not just see if you have passed all the test cases. So that is something which I really liked about it.
And after the first round, how many got to the second round?
I think it was about 30 to 35 out of the 700 students that sat in first round.
Okay, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so from here, as I said, there were 3 roles. So the interviews diverged from this point. So the first 2 interviews, the third round to the sixth round, I think I had 3 technical face-to-face rounds, and I'm going to talk only about operations engineer role here because that's the only interview that I had given. I'm not really, I'm not in a position to talk about software dev and the data science profile.
Did you get to
Uh,
choose the role that you wanted to interview for?
That's an interesting question. So the thing is, they kind of understand what you're good at, and then they start pushing you towards those roles. So the third round for me was taken by a software dev,
Mhm.
and by the kind of answers that I was giving, he felt I was more relevant to be a engineer rather than a software dev. So like
Mhm.
from the fourth round till the seventh round was all operations engineer based questions for me.
Okay, okay. So were there rounds after that as well?
Yes. So the three technical face-to-face rounds, they go into depth of every concept that you've learned. Okay,
Mhm.
so each interview is literally like 1.5 hours. So they're going to drill down to every detail that you can ever think of. So make sure whatever you tell, you know about it really well. Don't just talk about things that you've heard of, or things that you're not very sure. So that's something that I would like to advise here. But yeah, after those three rounds, it was just a normal HR round,
Okay.
just like how it happens in every other company. Nothing special about that. But the three rounds was extremely, extremely difficult to crack. It was very strenuous as well for me to, sit for 1.5 hours for each round.
Mhm.
And given the timing, like it went on from I think 6 p.m. or something till 1:30 a.m. or 1 a.m. in the morning. So the time also was a little, hard to focus and give the right kind of answers.
Got it. And what about the questions in the coding round? What were the topics that you felt were important there? If
So these are kind of basics of programming languages. You don't have to get into a lot of depth. So the maximum level that I remember is they had gone till DP. That's it, not more than that. Right?
heaps.
They had three questions. So the coding questions are not too hard in this round. It's easy to crack. You just need to know your basics of coding. That's it. You will be able to crack this round easily if you're
Mhm.
sure about that.
So there was no particular concept on which the questions were asked, like strings or hash maps or something like that.
So they had a question on parsing of strings. It was more to do with log parsing because this is a web solutions company. So most of the things, so the amount of logs they generate is massive. So that was one of their core requirement, and hence that sort of a question. And again, since it's a web-based company, there was a question based on HTTP library as well. So you had to, write a client server program there as well.
Okay, I see. This is not like the regular HackerRank coding round that all the other companies had. This seems to be a little different, right?
Correct. That's correct. That's right. It's more like a real world scenario, I would say.
Yes.
Nothing which seems to be simulated or made up kind of stuff.
So, what was your engineering journey like, and what would you advise your juniors?
So I kind of really enjoyed my engineering journey. All the 3.5 years, I was completely focused on what I liked the most, and I had chosen cybersecurity as something that I really like, passionate about it. So all my projects, all the internships that I've done, all the kind of contacts that I've had was all very relevant to cybersecurity. So I kind of formed a lot of clubs in college. I mentored a lot of people, conducted a lot of workshops. So the kind of advice that I would want to give a budding engineer or someone who is still in college is do things which you're very uncomfortable doing. I'll just give you an example. Let's assume you're bad at public speaking. You're very scared about going on the stage and talking in the mic and things like that. This is the only time in your life that people are not going to judge you for what you do, right? You go on the stage, you stammer, you forget what you want to tell. No matter what happens, people are not going to judge you at that point. People are not going to pay you money for what you're doing, or people are not going to keep it at the back of their mind that you failed at. So this is the life when you can try out things that you're really, really uncomfortable doing, and that is exactly what will push you a lot in your life.
So, after working for 1.5 years at Endurance, what is it that you did that got you into LinkedIn?
Okay, there are two parts to it. The first part is visibility, and the second part is being technically good
Of
to
course.
crack the interviews itself. Right. So, talking about the first part, which is visibility, what I had started to do is I started posting a lot on LinkedIn. I started being a lot more active on LinkedIn as I was in my engineering days. I should have probably started it much before, but then I started realizing the power of LinkedIn once I was in endurance. And I wasn't using LinkedIn to switch jobs or, I wasn't even looking out for a change because I was having a really, really good time at endurance, getting to learn massive amount of stuff every day. So there was no thoughts of changing my job as such. But I started using LinkedIn because I started liking what people posted. It was very interesting for me to, go outside of other social media and try using this professional networking site. So that's exactly what I started doing. And what generally happens is the more active you're on a social media platform, it rewards you by putting your profile much ahead of others when someone searches for you. Okay, just to give you an example, let's say someone searches for Aditya. For my profile to come on top, what needs to happen is people really need to, or the social media company needs to know that I'm actually putting in the effort to, use a lot of their website, post a lot on LinkedIn, or go like posts, comment on posts, share posts, and all of these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was doing that, I think that was one of the advantage that I had for getting a good visibility. In fact, the recruiter of LinkedIn reached out to me directly for the role. I did not even apply for the job. And once the recruiter reached out, I was excited for the opportunity and I thought I'll give it a try. That's exactly how it started. And then obviously I was able to crack the interviews, and that's how I got it.
So, what was your interview process like at LinkedIn?
So I had 7 rounds in total.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 rounds were telephonic, and the next five were on site. So I had to go to the office and then give my rounds there. In the telephonic round, it was one round of coding and one round of ops related stuff, which is all your computer science fundamentals. And on site, the 5 rounds, they were totally different, and it was very specific to how my day-to-day job would be like as an SRE.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it is.
Okay. So, the first coding round that you mentioned, was it similar to what you experienced during college? Was it same?
No,
No.
nope. This was actually competitive coding. It had
Okay.
rounds wherein, yeah, this wasn't log parsing or creating HTTP servers.
So, what is your role at LinkedIn and what do you do at LinkedIn?
Okay, that's going to be a hard question for me because the kind of role that I'm in is called site reliability engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what we do is ensure the reliability of systems. Okay, and my team specifically works on big data,
Mm-hmm.
so we are responsible for the reliability of Hadoop that runs at LinkedIn. Okay, so the reason why I said this is hard is because the role is very dynamic in nature. Uh, on some days I sit in code. On some days I'm sitting and fixing network issues. On some days I'm sitting and debugging kernel panics. On some days I'm going and looking at databases. On some days um, I'm doing performance testing to see how Hadoop is performing on one of our clusters. So it's a very, very dynamic responsibility, I would say. So I cannot really describe it in a sentence or two saying, I just do this or I just do that, because I might tell that in the video and tomorrow I might have to do something else.
Okay. Okay.
So what really matters is we have to be constantly learning at every point, and that's what helps us in our day-to-day job, just keep up with whatever is happening.
Got it. So, follow-up question: does LinkedIn hire freshers?
Yes, it does hire freshers.
Okay.
They do go to a very few campuses, so the best option would be to go for a off-campus interview. And
Okay.
what you get to know about it is just keeping an eye on the careers page. So you can just head on to careers.linkedin.com, and I think there is an option to subscribe to jobs. I'm not very sure. If not, you'll have to keep checking it every week or something like that, and that's maybe one of the ways that you can get an interview.
Awesome. Amazing. Okay. So, Aditya, any general tips that you would like to give students finally?
General tips. Okay. So one thing that I emphasize a lot on is, as humans, it is extremely important to stay curious, no matter what domain you're in, be it tech or managerial, or even if you're a civil engineering student. What is extremely important is you staying curious. Don't give in to facts or things that people tell you. Always question them. The more you question, the deeper you get into certain things, and that is going to have your fundamentals really really strong. And that I think has helped me a lot, at least till now, and I'm definitely going to stay curious and keep asking questions.
Got it. So, Aditya, thank you for joining me. And for all of you who don't know, Aditya has his own YouTube channel as well. I'll put the link to his channel down in the description section. Aditya, do you want to tell what is it that you do on your YouTube channel?
Sure, Nidhi. So, the concept that I had in my mind before starting the YouTube channel is, it was very much focused towards college students or people who are just 1 year, 2 years experience. So, the basic concept in my mind was that I wanted to help people bridge the gap between what they study in college versus what really happens in the industry. Okay, so I usually make tutorials on computer science fundamentals, and what I try to focus on in the video is trying to show them as much of practical stuff as possible. So all you need is to have a Linux laptop or a Linux VM or something like that, and you can try out everything that you learn in college just by watching my videos. So right now I have taken a small break from making videos. That's because of COVID, and I wasn't able to get a whiteboard. I was recording all my videos in Office. So since Office shut down, I have kind of stopped making videos. I'm definitely going to start making them again because I've been getting a lot of requests. So if you like the videos, please do subscribe to the channel so you keep getting notified of the newer videos that I keep uploading.
Got it. Awesome. So, thank you, Aditya, for joining me. And it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you, Nidhi. Bye.
Bye bye.